Thank you, Phyllis. Good morning. My name is Joni, and I'll be your service leader this morning. Welcome to Unity of Bloomington. At Unity, we offer practical, spiritual teachings that empower abundant and meaningful living. We're a center for spiritual growth, and we provide inspiration, tools, and practices that support you on your path. We extend a special welcome to those of you joining us online today. If you'd like to find out more about us or receive our newsletter, please visit our website at unityofbloomington.org. Please stand and join us in song.
I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. I feel joy, I feel peace, I feel goodness surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. I feel happiness, I feel freedom. I feel the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what life brings. I feel God in everything. I know joy, I know peace, I know goodness surrounding me. I know love in every breath I breathe. I know God in everything. I know happiness, I know freedom. I know the beauty that lives in me. I know perfection in what life brings. I know God in everything. I know God's in everything. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful 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 day.
And now join me in affirming our statement of being. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. This power expresses life, love, wisdom, and abundance through me. In it, I live and move and have my being. You may be seated. One way we empower abundant and meaningful living is by practicing and living our 5 basic principles. I'll state the principle and invite you to respond with the affirmation. God is absolute good everywhere present.
God is.
We have a spark of divinity within us, the Christ Spirit within. Our very essence is of God, and therefore we are also inherently good. We create our experience of life by the activity of our thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God-mind and therefore brings forth wisdom, wholeness, prosperity, and everything good. Through thought, words, and action, we live in the truth we know. And now I invite Reverend Lynette up for a moment with the children.
And now Mabry is here too, but I think she's downstairs helping set up chairs. Hi, Ella. I don't think I better sit down because I'm not clear I can get up. Did you see Ella's t-shirt? It says Unity on it. Cool. We're talking about beauty this month. Do you remember? No, well, that's okay. We're talking about beauty this month. And a lady who has been here said that she has always remembered I don't know if it was an art teacher or biology teacher, who once said, "What's more beautiful, a worm or an eagle?" What do you think?
I don't like either one.
Oh, okay. But think in terms of beauty to look at. Would you go with the worm or the eagle?
The eagle.
Okay. Yeah, I think probably on just a strictly aesthetic basis. But if I wanted to go fishing, I probably would be a lot happier to see the worm. She doesn't fish, so, well, then you don't have to worry about that. I also was thinking this morning about whether or not, if I was thinking about comparative beauty, and I thought, would I find a beautiful diamond or a beautiful home-baked loaf of bread? Which would I prefer? And I wondered which one you might prefer.
I'm gonna be honest, obviously the diamond.
Well, that was where I started too, and then I thought it would depend on how hungry I was.
Then you could buy it with food.
That's right, but some of you may know what to do with a diamond in order to turn it into food. I don't know how long it would take me, and I have been told that occasionally I get hangry, which is hungry, angry. So there are times where I honestly think, especially if I could still smell it out of the oven, I might really go for the bread. But I think what I realized was that beauty isn't constant. These beautiful roses, there's no question that they're beautiful, and they will be for maybe as long as 2 more weeks. These roses last an amazingly long time. But eventually, what are they going to look like?
Sad?
Sad. Yeah, they do look pretty sad. They get dry, and a lot of times their heads drop down, and they do. That's a good point. They make me feel sad sometimes when it's time to release them. So beauty isn't constant. Even with something that's beautiful, it's not always beautiful. Although, I have to tell you that I know people who took a rose from their first prom, or their wedding, or their mother's funeral, and pressed it in a book. And they still get sad and die. but because of the memories that are kind of wrapped around that flower, because of the special occasion, they become very precious and beautiful in the eyes of the person who knows what they mean. To us, it would just be something to go out into the compost heap. So I want to also mention that you are beautiful to me, especially when you have the courage to come up here and be our child for our children's moment. And I have really appreciated your courage and your willingness to do that. So, and I have every assurance that you're going to find a spiritual home in your new home where they can see your beauty too. Is there anything you want to say to this crowd of beautiful Unity people?
I will miss you guys.
Thank you. And we're going to celebrate you today. I think taco bar and an embarrassing plethora of cake is what we're having for lunch today. So cake is a vegetable, by the way, because it's made out of flour, which grows in the earth. So in case you wonder, and we even got cheesecake for you, which does not fit that description. So there are vegan and gluten-free cupcakes. So if you require one of those, keep looking until you find them, okay? Thank you. Could I have a hug? Thank you very much for being our child this morning and for all the mornings that you have done this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll let you sit down now. We've embarrassed you enough.
We love you. We bless you. We truly, truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you.
This year, we're exploring the ways in which we can embrace our unlimited good. During the month of June, we look at the concept of beauty. In How to Let God Help You, Myrtle Fillmore wrote, "Beauty and appreciation are inborn, and so are all the qualities that make for the transformation in the outer world." Join us this month as we open our awareness to experience and express the beauty that is innate within all creation. Please join me in saying this month's affirmation together. I open my awareness and embrace beauty within and without. I just have a couple of announcements to highlight today. As you know, we're having a Bon Voyage celebration for the Bell family after service today. And because of our little showers that passed through in the evening, that has been moved downstairs. We will accept a love offering, but everyone is welcome. Prayer support this month. We are going to begin to offer prayer support after the service. You can join one of our prayer partners in the front of the chapel on the right-hand side if you have a prayer request or a celebration, and today's prayer partner is Melanie Roby. Healing Sounds Meditation with Janice Jaffe is on hiatus through the month of June. Reverend Karen Williams will be our guest speaker on June 26th. And now I would like to invite Board President Phyllis Wycliffe and Board Treasurer Roy Capio up for an update.
As you know, the board is tasked with the behind-the-scenes stuff, the business of a spiritual community. And as such, we have to keep track of money and repairs and other things that are needed to be done in order for you to be able to be here, to be spiritually fed on Sunday morning and throughout the week. So from time to time, we need to keep you updated on what's going on behind the scenes. I think you probably realize that we had an air conditioning issue over the last couple of weeks, and we've had to replace our air conditioner. That was not in the budget. We also are coming into the summertime when people are away a lot, and so we would like you to look at who you are. And remember that you individually and as a group, but individually, are the hands of God, the eyes of God, the feet of God, the heart of God that we sang about a couple of weeks ago. God works through you to create the abundance in your life and in this congregation. And we would like for you to examine how open you are to that cycle of abundance. How is it working in your life? And examine whether it could be a little more open as we, behind the scenes, have to deal with some other things. I'm going to turn you over to Roy Capio, our treasurer, whom we are extremely grateful for, because he keeps us all on track, and we love that he does the job that he does. So Roy's going to give you a few details about that.
Thank you, Phyllis. I'd just like to read something from yesterday's daily word that targets the word prosperity. Today I claim prosperity with gratitude and a positive expectancy. I declare my willingness to receive all good things from an abundant world. Though my good may come to me from many channels, I remain constantly aware of God, the source of all good from which my blessings always flow. Psalm 25, verse 13, they will abide in prosperity and their children shall possess the land. So I've been asked to say a few things and try not to use too many numbers. Unfortunately, that's my strong point, I think, but I'm just going to give you an overview. We're looking at in this year a period of 5 months that we've completed, which is just a tad less than half of a year. And as you probably know, our operating budget is based upon, or is expense driven, which means that we basically construct a budget every year based upon what we expect our expenses to be. And so also, as Phyllis mentioned, there can be unexpected expenses, and that's something that you want to try to plan for, and we try to do that every year to determine how we can protect ourselves for things that could come up that we weren't expecting. So through 5 months, for your information, we have a deficit of about $11,500, $11,500. And so what we've done to try to offset some of that deficit is two things. Every year, for the last couple years at least, the board has had the opportunity to pick a nonprofit or a couple of nonprofit organizations, which totals $4,000 a year, which at this point we decided to freeze and probably put off until next year. So that is $4,000, and another $4,000, which consists of our ministry for youth. And at this point, based upon our profile, that will probably be postponed or reevaluated in January of next year. So between just those two budgetary items, which were in the budget, as them being removed, we've come up with $8,000 of the 11.5. Another thing that was very positive in the last couple of weeks is that our first Sunday in June, we had love offerings of about $3,000. The word unexpected isn't not appropriate, but it wasn't something that we would anticipate getting, so that was huge. And so now we had a $3,500 net deficit. Now we've just removed $3,000 from that. So even though we started with a big number, right now we're basically at about a break-even spot. So we're back to even. The other thing that I want to say, to be very positive, so that you're aware of this if you weren't already, which is part of our financial reporting to you, is that when you can take a look at all of our assets, our liquid assets, excluding the equity in the building and our mortgage, we have approximately $180,000 of liquid assets today. So we are, relative to the years and history of the church, Unity Church of Bloomington, we are in a very strong position. So we're going to go forward from that point, and we're going to continue to monitor the budget month to month, as we would anyway, and hope that we are going to turn this around a little bit more and make up the very little deficit that still remains. Finally, the other area is the unexpected expense, which, again, Phyllis mentioned, is our air conditioning. We have, over the ceiling of the foyer, we have what's called an air handler, which basically distributes the treated air, whether it's heat or cold air, throughout the entire building complex, and that had to be replaced. So that, in addition to one of the 4 air conditioning units outside, we have 4 heat pumps. One of those 4 was actually older than the building, I think. It finally died. So we replaced that. Now, the total bill for that was about $8,000. And the job was well done, and Bill has also helped us with fixing some of the things that we're working on in the building after we had to modify it to get the equipment up into the attic. So in closing, I just want to say that one of the objectives or hopes or thoughts that I'd like to leave you is that if any of you are inclined or motivated, want to give a gift based upon a specific thing that we're working on here or have corrected, or one of the blessings that we have, and air conditioning seems to be working really good this morning, that shortfall is $8,000. We've paid for it, it's taken care of, but anything you'd want to consider giving against that expense will be very much appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Phyllis and Roy, for your leadership and your stewardship. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience on earth. With this experience come all the challenges of being human together. We recognize there are places in our world where there is the appearance of conflict and people are displaced and dying. In the midst of all of this, we believe there is no person, situation, or force greater than the power of God. Our source of peace, strength, wisdom, and courage. Let us be silent in the one presence as we affirm divine order and the experience and expression of peace in every corner of our planet. And so it is. Now we will read from our daily word. The daily word is produced and printed by Unity, and you can learn more about it by visiting dailyword.com. The word for today is beauty. Our affirmation, I behold God's beauty everywhere. Today's daily word comes to us from August 5th, 1969, because beauty is timeless. I behold God's beauty everywhere. Let us cultivate the habit of looking for beauty. Nothing brings us in closer touch with the omnipresence of God than seeing the beauty created everywhere. We do many things to develop our mind and our body, but to cultivate the habit of seeing beauty develops the soul. It can become such a habit that we continually see it. We see it in faces, we see it in nature, we see it in the drabbest of landscapes. As we look for beauty, we will be surprised how much we see in our own environment. We do not need to go to faraway places to see beauty. We can see it in those around us. We can see it in our home and magnify it. We can cultivate the love of sunsets. We can see beauty in the clouds. We can see beauty in a lively crowd. We may not want to be part of a crowd, but there's beauty in God's energy and vitality expressed even in crowds. One of our poets has said, "Beauty is altogether in the eye of the beholder." And Psalm 96:6 tells us, "Strength and beauty are in God's sanctuary." Now we'll join together in speaking the affirmation aloud. Together, I behold God's beauty everywhere. And now repeat it to yourself silently. Today, our speaker and musical inspiration is provided by Reverend Lynette Carlson.
Holy is the dish and drain, the soap and sink and the cup and plate, the warm wool socks and cold white tile, shower heads and good dry towels, and frying eggs sound like psalms, with bits of salt measured in my palm. It's all a part of a sacrament, as holy as the day spent. Holy is the busy street, and the cars that boom with a passion's beat, and the checkout girl counting change, the hands that shook my hand today, and hymns of geese fly overhead and spread their wings as their parents did. Blessed be the dog who runs in her sleep to catch some wild and elusive thing. Holy is the familiar room and quiet moments in the afternoon, and folding sheets like folding hands to pray as only laundry can. I'm letting go of all my fears, like autumn leaves made of earth and air. For the summer came and the summer went, as holy as a day is spent. Holy is the place I stand to do whatever small good I can. The empty page, the open book, redemption everywhere I look. Unknowingly we slow our pace in the shade of unexpected grace, with grateful smiles and sad lament, as holy as a day spent, and morning light sings providence, as holy as a day is spent. Thank you. I think it probably said up there, that's Carrie Newcomers. Yeah, good. You know, I've been speaking in churches off and on, actually it's longer than that, but definitely, professionally, I've been doing it off and on for 40 years. And I got to preach on Youth Sunday when I was a kid. So all of that, I have never spoken about beauty before. So finally, I can put that on my itinerary, on my resume. And I think that's why I was a little surprised when I saw that the Unity theme for June of 2022 was beauty, or more specifically, behold beauty everywhere. But after the research, study, and reflection I did in preparation for this message, I understand why it was included in this year's list, and I'm glad it was. The metaphysical meaning of beauty, as described by Charles Fillmore in The Revealing Word, is the loveliness of God beheld in creation by the human eye. Spiritual people behold this divine loveliness everywhere. The definition concludes with the scripture reference from Ecclesiastes 3:11. God has made everything beautiful in its time. I have to admit, I was a bit stymied at first when I considered how on earth I was going to fashion a spiritual message about beauty. Because here in the 21st century, beauty evokes images for me, of airbrushed fashion models and slick, shiny sports cars and 75-year-old rock stars who look 30 because of extensive and obscene number of cosmetic, and I'm only guessing that's why Cher looks so good after all this time. But in meditation, I recalled the phrase "in the beauty of holiness," and I thought, okay, I think I can work with that. And so, as is true for many things in life, all good messages have their beginnings in a Google search. That's become my go-to. So I typed in beauty of holiness, and I found a treasure trove of commentaries, interpretations, and opinions about the origins and meanings of this phrase. It is particularly associated with worship. And although I didn't find that anyone else had made this association, I wondered if it's the origin of the Protestant custom of dressing up to go to church. It's not necessarily one of our customs here, and in some places it's even discouraged because it's thought to be a sign of status rather than a show of respect. But one scholar that I found did say that the Hebrew words translated as beauty of holiness literally means the holy array. And it may have referred to the beautiful ceremonial priestly garments worn by those who led the ritual worship in the temple. But the words glory, excellence, and splendor are also used in the verse that talks of the beauty of holiness, as are the terms pure and perfect. These qualities are more than aesthetic descriptors of appearance. They point us to a deeper understanding of the relationship between beauty and the divine. The word holy, as it's translated into English, is first found in the book of Exodus, when Moses encounters that bush. We referred to it as kids as the burning bush, but I don't know that just a burning bush would have caught Moses' attention that day. This was a bush with fire in it, but it wasn't consuming the bush. So it was kind of a burning bush, but not your typical burning bush. So it got Moses' attention. And he hears a voice now that he's noticed this. The voice says, "Take off your shoes, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." To stand on holy ground is to stand in a place of awe and beauty, the kind of beauty that shines through appearances. When we know that we're standing on holy ground, we see beauty even in the commonplace. And that's what Carrie Newcomer's song is about. As this month's theme reminds us, we can behold beauty everywhere. To stand on holy ground is to stand in a place of peace and harmony. Here, where we are standing, wherever we are standing, God is. Here, where we are standing, love is. The place on which we are standing is holy ground anytime we are conscious of our own divinity. An unknown Unity author wrote, "My body is a temple of the Spirit of God, so wherever I am and whatever is happening around me, I am on holy ground. By simply standing right where I am, I have placed a temple of God on this very spot." And in truth, every location on earth is already and has always been holy ground, because God is everywhere present, in every creature and in all of creation. In the worldview of separateness, holy meant set aside or set apart for or by God. Sometimes it was for religious purposes, as it was when only the priests could eat the bread that had been sacrificed at the temple. And sometimes it was symbolic, like the Sabbath, which God declared good, which translates into the same word in Hebrew as holy, because the work of creation ceased that day. But in New Thought, where humanity and all of creation are understood to be one with Source, there is no separation. So it's fair to say that the old understanding of holiness is simply obsolete. In the Revealing War, we read that the metaphysical meaning of holy is spiritually whole, or of unimpaired innocence. Holiness is wholeness in spirit, mind, and body. In this state of consciousness, we can be aware of the all-pervading glory of God. So as the song by Peter Mayer says, everything is holy now. And I realize that song proves the basis for one written, I'm guessing, earlier than Peter Mayer's song by Ray Stevens. Some of you are old enough to remember when it first came out, and some of us have heard it since then. Everything is beautiful. In that song, which Stevens did write, and the note in Wikipedia was that it was very different from anything else that he'd ever done, like Ahab the Arab and Yakety Sax, I think are two of his greats. In the song, it says, we shouldn't care about the length of his hair or the color of his skin. Don't worry about what shows from without, but the love that lives within. And that reminds me of my favorite quote from Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. He said, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The beauty of holiness is what we behold when we look beyond appearances and see the heart, the character, and the inherent wholeness that's in all of us. On any given day, you can look around or even see yourself in the mirror and think, do I see beauty? And some days the answer is yes. And some days I see flaws in the mirror or trash along a beautiful stretch of road or potholes on my own street. Problems. Are there people in your life who always seem to see the best of everything? Maybe things you hadn't noticed. And maybe there are others who always seem to notice the imperfections, the flaws. Well, you may have heard me say that years ago, a close associate pointed out to me how often my first words in response to any new idea or suggestion was, well, the only problem with that is, fill in the blank. And as much as I disliked the sound of it and hated to admit it, I knew it was true. I could almost feel those words coming out of my mouth. So it's like, oh gosh. So that was a mirror, and I was stricken, but I was also grateful because I wasn't conscious of that. Evidently, it happened often enough that other people had noticed, so I was glad to get that reflected back to me because that was the beginning of doing something different. I didn't want to be the person who was famous for responding with those words. And now that it's been brought to my attention, I had the power to choose something else. I don't want to be a problem thinker, so I resolved to be a possibility thinker. And as I practiced changing those habits, I was amazed at the positive results. Because when I stopped looking at the problems in others or their plans, I was able to stop doing the same thing in my life. I had been described as a good church girl many years before this. But I can say that the result of that shift from problem-focused to possibility-focused was when I really embraced my holiness. I recently saw an image on Facebook that I want to share with you, and we're going to see, we need to lighten the screen, and Seb's maybe got this uploaded. Not the lotus, although I could speak about that too. Are we going to be able to do this? Okay. So is it on? It's on the feed, but we don't get to see it. That's okay. Basically, the bottom line says, we see the world not as we are, no, not as it is, but as we are. And it's got pictures of somebody all in blue who sees the world with butterflies, and this person here who is surrounded by a red aura who sees the world on fire. And it was interesting, I read some of the comments as I was copying this last night, and one post said, "This is stupid. The world is a dumpster fire. If you don't think so, you're not paying attention." And I thought, oh, you just outed yourself. So, we get to choose how we see the world. And what I see is not only one version of the state of what is, but it also reveals the state of me, of whether I'm in touch with my beauty and holiness, or if I'm feeling like a dumpster fire. We can choose the beauty of holiness, and that's good news, very good news. Because I believe we are all beautiful beyond our wildest imagining. And as I look out over these shining faces this morning, I can see it. We're going to have our music team help us now prepare for meditation.
In the silence, there is a sacred space, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light now I find that I know peace of mind. In the silence, my path is paved in gold, and all my dreams unfold. Love is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
As the words of this song continue to echo in our minds, let's take a deep breath and relax. I want you to think of relaxation as liquid light, liquid love that is poured from source, the source of the peace that passes all understanding. It's poured into your crown chakra at the top of your head. And picture this liquid relaxation pouring over your head and running down your face, neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Let it envelop your torso and run down your back before it flows into your lap, down your legs, and finally, liquid, loving light puddles in your feet. Allow yourself to float in this sea of peaceful relaxation. This is the light of spirit in which you live and move and have your being. It is beauty. It is holy. You are beauty. You are holy. We behold beauty and holiness in all that is, in one another and in ourselves. And because we see the world through the eyes of beauty and holiness, we are aware of the glory of God and the splendor of the divine. This awareness shines through us and allows others to see themselves in beauty, to see themselves as holiness, as one with the Christ presence. Take another deep, relaxing breath now as we spend a few moments in the beauty of the silence.
We turn now to the spiritual practice of generosity. We're grateful for the many ways this center supports us in our spiritual growth, and we, in turn, are happy to support this center with our financial contributions and our voluntary service. Today, as we participate in the activity of abundance, we welcome not only tangible treasure, but also your blessings. As the offering bag circulates, we invite you to place your hand over the bag and offer a thought of gratitude for our individual and collective abundance. We're also grateful for those who have already put in place automatic online giving. Your consistency and dedication help create a stable and thriving spiritual community. As our greeters come forward to prepare for the offering, please join me in speaking aloud our abundance affirmation. Together, I am an abundant being living in an abundant universe. God is the source of my supply. I am not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I give my best, and I now attract the best in every experience.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One loving family sharing one son. I choose love. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are all part of each other. We are one. Unites us, let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
And now we bless our abundance with these words. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I'd like to invite you to stand and join me in saying our closing prayer. Together. God, we shine. As the love of God, we embrace. As the power of God, we stand in truth. As the presence of God, we radiate love. Where we are, God is, and all is well. And before we head downstairs for a farewell to our precious friends, and in gratitude for our radiant health, please remain in place and join us in singing together, "Let There Be Peace on Earth."
with each other.